Hey everyone, my name is Taryn and thank you so much for stopping by my channel, Nicole Flower House. This channel is all about my cut flower garden and I'm located in zone 7B. This week I just want to give you a quick update on what the garden is looking like. So we'll go for a walk this evening. It is sunset, so we'll have perfect lighting. Right here I have started some seeds. I kind of overseeded them with abandon. I had some leftover cress and baby's breath seeds. Both were on the older side, and I'm really looking to revamp my seed collection for next year. Anything that's more than a year or two old, I'm just finding a place in the garden to create an overseeded bed. So hopefully I will get plenty of plants and cutting out of this. I'm keeping it well watered, and despite the age of the seeds, a lot of them have germinated. This is where my anemones were. They are definitely slowing down, so I'm not sure if I'll get any more blooms or not this season. They produced well for me and I'm really happy with how they did, and I think I'll expand them next year. The ranunculus are also slowing down quite a bit. I've added some mulch to this bed and have been keeping it well watered. So I'm happy to see that I'm still getting blooms, but our weather has been quite warm. It's cooled off, but I think it's been a little too late. And even after this week of cool weather, we have a very warm week coming up. So this could be the end of the ranunculus. Somehow the last harvest of something always seems to sneak up on me. Like I just don't really think about when the next harvest will be, and I kind of miss out on the fact that it might be the last one. I don't know if I'll get another anemone harvest. I'm still going to get at least one more with the ranunculus, and that might be all. In the corner of this bed over here, I have Orlaya that has self-seeded and it's starting to bloom. I'm so happy about this. I love Orlaya. It's kind of everywhere and I'm not sad about that. This first bloom is very short, but they will get taller as the plant matures. This spot over here has oregano in it. This is perennialized and I love using this as filler. It smells so good and these stems will get nice and strong and tall as the plant grows on. I also wanted to show the mugs that I ordered from my friend are finished. They're so beautiful. I'm going to use these in my Mother's Day arrangements. And I have 5 of each type available that I'll sell at my shop. Each and every piece is handmade by her, and they're all different. So I have 5 of each of these 3 different types, and each one is a little bit unique and beautiful. Her name is Melanie. I don't think she ships them or anything, but I still wanted to give her a shout out. I have a few marigolds right here that I planted. They look really well. These eucalyptus did not overwinter very well this year, so I think this might be the last year. I'm actually doing flowers for a wedding in July. I usually don't do weddings, but I have one person that's kind of the perfect client. So I'm gonna save, like say, this stem for her. I have a lot more eucalyptus that looks really nice out in the front. But after her wedding and I take anything that's useful off of these plants, I'm going to pull them. This one has a lot of good foliage on it still. But a lot of these look terrible. So I'll just get this bed cleaned up in the fall. Here is the second bed of ranunculus. So maybe just one more harvest from this ranunculus bed as well. This bed of seedlings is progressing well. These are all frost-tolerant plants. The ornamental kale, scabiosa, carnations, and stock. And I have a few ranunculus down here on the end, and they are giving me blooms. You may have noticed at this point that all the tulips are done. So all my tulips have finished blooming. I do have some left in my cooler, not a ton because I sold a lot for Easter, but I'll be hanging on to those for a while. These cool weather seedlings are also doing well. These snapdragons are about to reach the Hort Nova. I've decided not to pinch this group so that they'll bloom sooner. This spot over here has plenty of carnations and stock as well. The poppy bed has totally exploded. I'm so excited. And I even have a few buds coming on here. Earlier today, this one was open, so it must close back up at night, but it's a very cute, delicate little flower. I do have some grass weeds in here, but not too bad compared to previous seasons with the weeds. These thornless raspberries have put on flowers. I guess I could leave these on here to get fruit, but I really was going to use this for foliage. I might pull some of these and see how they do in water with the flowers, but this one is fruiting. So I kind of feel like maybe I should leave them in here. I feel like they've grown a lot the past couple of weeks. Here are the Lisianthus that have overwintered in my garden. I think I'm encouraged by this. This is the most vertical growth I've ever seen these plants have, so I'm hoping blooms are to follow. This one broke. Get rid of that. And does this mean I may get multiple blooms? I think this is a cut and come again flower, so that would be nice. If these bloom, this will be my first successful Lisianthus blooms ever, which is really fun. This bed right here is another old seed experiment. I had some old bunny tails grass seeds, so they're all in here. No germination yet. These are those Ranunculus that overwintered in my dahlia beds that I showed a few weeks ago. And those have just exploded in growth. I wasn't sure if they were going to bloom at all. They looked pretty pathetic compared to the ones that I started. But they really have increased in size, and I've cut a few blooms off of them lately. And speaking of putting on a lot of growth, the dahlias that overwintered are just going crazy. It's always exciting, and I haven't had a chance to fix my Hortonova yet, or my corralling. I plan on doing that differently this year. So it looks like I'm going to need to get on that real soon. I mean, look at these guys. They're big. Another thing that's big are my weeds, but that's okay. Now the dahlias in this bed were a little bit slower to come up. It's much more shallow than the other ones. And then I have a few in-ground beds, and those were even slower to come up, but they are sprouting up. Check out the dahlia in this bed. Now next to it here I have some new dahlias planted, and also this bed right here is full of new dahlias. And this bed right here. So because I'm in zone 7, I've started receiving my dahlia order. And I'm trying to stay on top of things this year, so I've already planted those ones out. We may get a light frost, but that won't hurt those tubers in the ground. This right here is really sad. I killed my yarrow plants. That one might actually recover. The rest of them look pretty bad. I transplanted these and they did not like that. This is a fresh seedling I had. Looks like I'm going to need to do some more seeding though of the yarrow because these plants are not happy. It's been less than a week. We may get some rain that might help them out tomorrow, but it's not looking good for those. This part of my garden, in between the dahlias and the winterberries, is a complete jungle and needs a lot of help. Just haven't made it this far back yet. But I did want to give an update on the rose garden. I do have soaker hose laid in here now. I had to split it up. This one runs first and then I turn on this half. I tried running it at all the same time and that just didn't work. It was not getting enough water to the second half. So I've ordered some more quick connect hose connectors to help me out with the switching of the lines, and I think this is going to work really well. You can see it dripping out here. And if you pull the mulch away, it's doing a good job of getting the soil underneath there wet. Most of my new bare root roses have put on foliage and look so good. They're nice and greened up. I have a few though that don't look good. This one's okay, it has some growth. This one doesn't have anything. The stems are still green, so I'm gonna water it and take care of it, but I'm not sure what's going on with that one. This one over here, same thing, no growth yet. I'm not sure if it'll put anything on. Its neighbor over here is the same variety. Doesn't look very good, but it at least has put on some growth. This right here is cress. Those are those seedlings that I wasn't sure if they would take or not. They look okay. I'm gonna let them hang out here. I don't think cress is cut and come again. I think it's one stem per seed. So this will make a pretty bouquet. I have, I don't know, 25-ish stems to work with. So that'll be fun to try for the first time. If I'm growing something new and I've never grown it before, that's something I like to do just so I can learn how it works in bouquets and stuff. Strawberry Hill Rose is looking really good. She has survived her transplanting, is putting on new growth again. And I'm really excited about all these vertical sprays coming off of this. That means I trained this branch correctly, and these will shoot all kinds of blooms up and over the top of this arbor. I would love to just stand underneath here and look at the roses over my head. And then we could walk out here into aisles of beautiful annual flowers that I have not planted yet. We'll make it though. This is a viburnum plant. So this is another thing. I didn't really want to cut on it much last year because it was new, but maybe I will cut some of these branches and see how they do in the vase as well. This is supposed to be really good for cut flower growing and for the foliage. At the base of the sunflower tunnel, I have some sweet peas going. They didn't transplant that well. They've been sitting here doing nothing for a while, but hopefully soon they'll take off. They really are a cool weather flower, so I'm hoping we don't get too hot for them to do anything. I'm still working on getting this bed inside the sunflower tunnel filled with soil. I'm just moving it around from different parts of the garden as I'm restructuring things and adding it in here. I do plan on mulching this little pathway in between the panel and the box so that I have a way to get through here without going through all those weeds. And on this side of the sunflower tunnel, I have planted my first round of sunflower seedlings. Each succession after this, I will just direct seed. And all around these, I've planted some nice smelly herbs to try to deter deer. I have sage, dill, and cilantro along here. But I do plan on putting a gate up here. I just haven't had a chance yet. So for now, I'm just keeping this shade cloth over top of it. I have it pulled back so you guys can see it, but Once we're done filming here, I'll put that back to protect them from getting eaten. This is chamomile that has reseeded itself. I may experiment with using this as a filler. If anyone has done that, let me know in the comments below. These seedlings over here are continuing to harden off. They get dappled sunlight most of the day over here and then just some evening sun. So I think they're liking that and they're doing well. There's one more day in the forecast that I'm particularly worried about frost, so I'll continue to keep my eye on it. But we may not get another frost, so there always seems to be one late one toward the end of April, so I'm waiting it out this year before I plant these. This is my original patch of willow that I've been using every year to get my harvests from. It's greened up and has plenty of branches on it, so it looks like I will get a good harvest again, even if my new patch doesn't do that well yet. Here is the new willow patch. There's growth on them. They don't look terrible, but they don't look great. And I have weeding to do. There's some weeds popping up through these holes, like that. But that won't be too bad to pull those out. I like to pull weeds out when they're kind of big because it's easier. Not when they're like super established and big, but when they're big enough to have a decent root system and I can pull them all out. Oh, looks like this willow didn't make it. I think I did find another source of greenery right here in the back. I think I've read about people using magnolia in arrangements, but I just never really put it together in my head. If you use magnolia foliage in your arrangements, let me know if that works well for you. I'm currently doing a vase test on this and it's looking really good. And this is quite a big and established tree. So I could use quite a bit of foliage off of here. I'm also using foliage off of a few forsythia shrubs that I have, but I think they're getting a little tired, so I might need to switch to this. Back here behind my compost bins, I have an extra goat panel. This means that I get to have another arbor somewhere. So I'm trying to think of where I want it. Could go anywhere. These right here in the pathway, I think these are rudbeckia. I used to have rudbeckia planted in this bed and they got out of control and kind of leaned over. And I bet some of them went to seed, so I'm hoping that's what these are. I'll always take free plants. Well, that is all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the update and the walk through the garden. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. And the best way you can support me and my channel is to subscribe and share it with your flower loving friends. I'll see you next time. Bye.